All right, you guys, we're back and we're live. Welcome back to our weekly live feed. We are live on both Instagram, on my Stage Ready by Sean Instagram account, and YouTube. So as you were logging on, say hello and tell me where you're coming in from. And damn, I'm looking at my diet face. Holy Jesus. Woo! Oh, Lordy. We are just a few days out. Good God. As we're waiting for everybody to get logged on, first thing, let's give a shout out to our YouTube channel sponsors, Prozis. They have been supplying me with all of my supplement needs since they've been our sponsor. Fantastic food, fantastic supplements. People have been commenting on my skin a lot. I credit that a lot to the supplementation that I'm taking, collagen, all that kind of fun stuff that I'm getting from Prozis. You want to check them out. They are based out of Portugal. Super fast shipping though. You can use code Cuties10 for a discount. And the cool thing about what they do over there is that all of their supplementation has to go through rigorous testing. So you know you're getting what you're buying, whereas here in the States, they don't have that kind of thing going on. So it's much, much higher quality product in my opinion, and it's making a huge difference for me. We've got Chicagoland, Albuquerque, New Mexico. We got from Texas. Thank you for the happy peak weeks. I appreciate that. Niagara Falls, Canada. I also want to shout out Liquid Sun Rayz as our YouTube channel sponsor as well. So Liquid Sun Rayz, I've been working with my entire competitive career. I am using their products right now for my skin prep because I am going into a show this coming weekend. So their products are amazing when it comes to skin prep. If you've never used them, you should try them just to try them in general because they're just fantastic. I will be getting sprayed by Liquid Sun Rayz this weekend in Daytona. So I've always used it. I've always used Liquid Sun Rayz since, year 2. Year 1, I used a random product I got online because we didn't have tanners at the shows. But since then, it's been Liquid Sun Rayz, and our Cuties15 is our code for them. You can use that to book your tan at shows. You can use it for all their products, everything that you would like to do. We've got Goodyear, Arizona. Thank you for the happy peak week. We've got Connecticut, Utah, Tyson's Corner, right down the road, and Wisconsin. Yes, so I am in the middle of peak week right now. We are going to wrap up Sasquatch tonight, and we are going to preview Legions and Daytona. Now, in the past, if I've been competing in a show, I typically don't preview it. However, I'm going to preview Daytona because the lineup is ridiculous. So it's a smaller show, but it is full of Olympians. So I'm going to preview it because really my focus is Masters anyway at this show. So while I will be stepping on stage, I still want to shout out our Olympian athletes that are all going for this Daytona title for sure. We got Connecticut in the house here too. Awesome. I'm going to get rid of the Liquid Sun Rayz and put up one more time our Cuties Conquer the Stage tickets. This QR code, the link for our tickets are still in the description box as well. So check that out because that event is going to be sold out. It is going to be the second week of January. It is our 10th year. So if you want to come and learn a lot, have some of the best educators in our sport there, some of the best athletes in our sport, and have a fantastic girls weekend as well, you need to be there. Just need to be there. I bought the skin prep for my first show on 10/5. Liquid Sun Rayz is the tanning sponsor. Awesome. Fantastic. You'll love them. They're wonderful. Hello from Canada. Awesome. So while I am logged on Instagram, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to log off of Instagram. If you are logging on Instagram, go to my YouTube channel, Sean's Short Cuties on YouTube. The link is in my bio on there as well, because there you see all the screen shares and it's a much better experience. Subscribe and turn on notifications. So go check out YouTube channel now because we're live over there. Bye. So there's that. We're going to add the cover. There we go. And that's all set to go. Perfect. Peak week. Yeah. I'm a night owl. So I'm that person. I go to sleep at like midnight, but I don't get up in the morning until 8. So at least I try to. I've been getting up early. Unfortunately, I can't sleep past 5 a.m. at this point because I have to pee when I get up. But then as soon as I'm done peeing, I go back to bed. So it just is what it is. My body clock at least lets me go back to sleep. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We got Texas in the house. Awesome. All right, so let's get settled in here and get going through. We're going to wrap up Sasquatch first. That was a ridiculously deep show. These shows are not easy, and they're getting harder by the day. They're getting harder by the week. Okay, so here is Sasquatch. We're going to go through the results here, the top 5. Again, it was a very, very competitive show here. So let me pull up my chat so I can see you guys. As always, what did I just do? If you have anything you want to ask questions about or want to participate and things like that, feel free to type it in. This is a interactive stream. No question is a silly question. Go ahead and ask away as we go through these. We're going to go through the top 5, okay? And again, this was a really, really deep show. Also, tell me in the comments, again, I'm moving into Masters Division myself. Now, if you win a 40 and over class in Masters, you qualify for the Masters Olympia. Do you guys want me to start talking about Masters? That's something that we could discuss going into this new year because we are qualifying people for the Masters Olympia now. So this is a whole new qualification system. So let me know. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Let me know. So we had Deanna Dang did win this. Okay, we're gonna go through the top 5. Deanna's been competing the last few weeks in a row, and she came out with a win here. So let's start out with Jordan. So you all know that I love Jordan to death. She is my co-host for Behind the Bikini, which, by the way, guys, we're shooting a Behind the Bikini tomorrow. We are both in peak week again. So yeah, bear with us. We're going to do our best, right? We're going to do our best. So everybody's saying they love Masters. Awesome. Yeah, keep those comments coming. Let me know if you want me to start going through that stuff. We can kind of start talking about criteria points and things like that for Masters winners. And really what we'll do is we'll kind of stick to like I said, like the winners of Masters 40 and over, that kind of thing, the girls that are qualifying for the Masters Olympia. Okay, so when we're going through photos for this particular show, you can see just by the screen share here, they didn't get Jordan fully in her front pose. She's kind of in between. So I'm going to pull up this one because she's kind of in her front pose, but it's a close-up shot. We're getting lots of yeses to covering Masters. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Okay, we'll start talking more about Masters. Okay, so here's Jordan. Again, I wanted to pull this one up because she's actually in her front pose. Now we're only seeing her quarter length. We're not seeing the full length here. But I felt like her front pose was spot on. I don't think that there's a whole lot I would have changed about her front pose. Now, something that she even mentioned is she does want to get her implants fixed. I think that would absolutely help with the aesthetics from the front, but really, honestly, it doesn't detract from it, I don't think. I look at it just because I know that's something that she specifically wants to do. I'm not sure if this is a better color on her or if I like the blue that she typically wears. I actually mentioned this to her today because when I saw photos of her in the purple, I wasn't completely sold on the purple for her. But the video she posted from Gilco was phenomenal in the purple. So I don't know. I think this is one of those colors I have to see on her in person to know if I prefer this versus the blue. I'm always that fan of if it works, then why change it? And the blue works for her so well. It's very hard to top that when you got a color that just works. But when we look at her overall front pose here, I think that this is a massive improvement from last year. Her waistline is teeny tiny, super flat, super tight. I think her proportions are right on from the front. When I initially saw video of her walking out on stage, I was like, oh, damn. I was like, she's got this. Like front, back, side to side, I thought it was her best package that I've seen on her, period. Let me pull up her back shot here. The amount of muscle that she has put on and projection that she has increased here is phenomenal. So when she was by herself, I felt like she was spot on. I felt like she got a little bit exposed when she was next to other people, looking a little bit soft from the back. But to be perfectly honest with you, I think it was more so the lineup than it was her. I think this back pose is right on. I think she's right on. Could she be a little bit tighter? Maybe, but I don't necessarily think that that would have been better, to be honest with you. I think she needs to be this kind of fullness, this kind of projection. Her hamstrings are perfect in my opinion right now. Like they're not super tight or anything like that. They don't like come to a full V. If she was, you know, if she's on the Olympia stage, I feel like she would fit right in here. I really liked this overall look for her from the back and everything. So I honestly, when I saw the placings and saw she was in 5th, was a little bit surprised by that. I'll be perfectly frank. I mean, I know that I'm a little biased. I mean, I'll admit that because, you know, I love her to death. But I personally feel like she brought her best package that I've seen on her so far. So I'm curious to see what she does this coming weekend. And see what she plans to bring. So blonde hair with blue teal suit or darker hair with a purple suit, which you prefer? See, I don't know because I haven't seen her in the blue with this hair. So I don't know. I think for the purple, I'd have to see her in person to know for sure. And I haven't seen her with this look with the blue hair, or with the blue suit, so I don't know which one I like better at this point. I'll know if I see her in the blue. You know, if I see her in the blue, then I'll know which one I prefer, but I haven't seen it. So personally, from what I've seen so far, I like the blue suit better. I felt like the blue popped off her better. But again, when I saw the video of her that she posted on Instagram in this purple, I thought it was stunning in the purple. So I don't know. I again go back to, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's kind of how I felt with the blue. I just think the blue is her color personally. So, let's go to Brittany. So Brittany, was in 4th. Do we have a full pose of her? We do. We have a full front pose of Brittany. So the first thing I thought when I saw Brittany is, wow, she's hard. I saw it in her face more than anything else. So to me, I don't know if this was her feedback or not. To me, she was too hard. What I'm looking at here is this cut all through her quad and her glutes and everything. This is very, very hard. It looks to me like she's put on some size. And I think that her conditioning is too tight. You can see, like, look at how diced her freaking quads are, or I'm sorry, calves are with the veins. I do like the front pose, but I think her conditioning is over the top here. And I do like the red suit. I'll say that. I like the overall flow of her physique, but again, the conditioning is too much. Now, the part that I'm curious to see, 'cause she's competing against this coming weekend, is if she softens up, if she's going to look too muscular, you know. I think she might have too much size at this point, but I don't know. We'll see what she looks like when she shows up this coming weekend. But this is clearly, and I could see it because you could tell she's harder just because her face is harder. That was the first thing that I noticed. I was like, oh, her conditioning. And I saw this even just on her Insta stories, just how drawn in her face was. She's just come in too hard, in my opinion. Yeah, I saw the reel that she put up that her quads were splitting. So if her quads were splitting, that means she's too hard. I saw that she posted that. When the judge tells you that your quads are splitting, you're too hard. So from the back, I think the back pose itself is very good. I think like how she structured it, I think she's very good. But again, we look at this hamstring tie-in that's very, very tight. To me, her glutes are a little bit squared off. And if you look at her suit bottoms, I've talked about this several times, her suit bottoms are sitting up too high, showing that tailbone, showing that back of that hip a little bit, which again makes you look even harder. When you show this little divot up at the top, it takes away from the fullness and the roundness of your glutes. So either she needs to pull the suit down or something, or fill out more or something, because we just don't want to see this, because again, it takes away from the fullness and the roundness of the glutes. That's the one thing that I would change with the back pose. Other than that, I think her actual back pose itself is structured very, very well. I just think that she's, again, I look at this and I just see really hard. Great projection on the glutes, great overall shape, but again, conditioning is just a little over the top. Then we have Xin Yi. Sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly. I'm not really sure. Beautiful girl. This was one of the girls we talked about on our preview. We didn't see a back shot. Didn't know what she was going to look like. She hadn't done really much because she hasn't been in the States. But, I mean, clearly she looked great. Front pose, I'm not a huge fan. I feel like, and again, I don't want to judge this too much because she could be in between and not really posed yet. But I feel like she could kind of open her upper body up a little bit more, open up that chest a little bit more, twist the hip a little bit more, and pop the glute. This is a little straight on just with her hip bone. I would just like to see a little bit more twist here. Just show that glute and hamstring profile off a little bit more and open up a little bit more through the upper body. Really just show the proportions a little bit more because she's got very, very good proportions. And I don't think her conditioning is too hard from the front. From the back, so it's hard to beat this kind of genetic structure with your glutes. Whenever we see these long drops in the hamstrings, that's just how they were born. You know what I mean? That's genetics right there. And she's got a tiny little waistline. This is, and the width in the shoulders is phenomenal too. The way she's actually hitting this back pose is really pretty spot on. You can't really do much better than this. Conditioning might be a touch too hard here too. She's a little bit softer than Brittany, but not much. She's still pretty tight through those hamstrings. She's got a little bit more softness and roundness to her muscle at this point than Brittany did, which is probably why she edged her out. But I would say she probably still could stand to soften up just a touch. Not a lot. Just like a half a pound. We're talking minuscule here, just so that she looks a little bit fuller, a little bit rounder. But other than that, I mean, this is pretty spot on. The one thing we always talk about with India Paulino is she has those really long hamstring drops. But what is hard for India is she has a thicker waistline. This girl does not have the thick waistline, and she's got those long hamstring drops. That's really, genetically, that's really hard to beat. That's really, really hard to beat if you're in shape. Then we have Lacey. So Lacey has been working her way up all season. This is a good one. Lacey's a longer, leaner girl. Or I don't know if the leaner is the right word. I guess more petite in structure, I would say. But her flow is really, really good. I feel like she's getting better every show. There's a couple shows ago where I felt like she looked a little skinny. Here, I don't feel like that at all. I feel like she's kind of full and round and filled out. I wouldn't change a whole lot with this front pose. Not a huge fan of the top of this suit. I'm not sure what she can do to fix that. I feel like she's doing the long triangles on purpose because she is longer through her chest, and so that makes sense. But maybe just the actual triangle itself needs to be a little bit smaller, maybe. I'm not really sure. It's close. There's just something a little bit off with it for me. Other than that, though, I don't think there's a whole lot that I would change here. I think that she looks really well balanced. I think she's full. I think she's tight. I think she's round. I think she's got the conditioning pretty much spot on right here from the front. And from the back, again, I love this conditioning. Like, she's got the hamstring tie-ins, but they're not real etched in like we were just talking about with the last two girls. The hamstrings are there. She's in shape. She's got good projection. She's got good fullness and roundness to the glutes. She's got that tiny little waistline going into the V. Everything about this looks fantastic. And it's just not, again, it's not super etched. This is right where that conditioning should be, in my opinion. I think she did a very, very good job here. This is, again, probably the best I've seen her look so far this year. Clearly, because she took second place, this was a great look for her in this huge lineup. So very, very good job. This was, again, probably the best I've seen her all year. And then we have Deanna. So I've mentioned Deanna a few times the last few weeks because she has been competing the last few weeks, and she's been, consistently in that top 5, inching her way up. I think she's really good, and I think she's close to probably being like her best self. This is a much better front pose than what I saw just a couple of weeks ago. She's a lot fuller here from the front than she was just a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, she was really etched in and hard. Her waistline is so teeny tiny here. She's another one where I'm not a huge fan of her suit top. I think it fits her fine, but I'm not sure what it is about the suit top itself that I'm just not a fan of. I think maybe it needs to come in a little bit more in the front. I'm not really sure. But this is a much better front pose. I do think she still needs more shoulders. I think she needs more delts. And I do think she needs to tilt more in her lower back still here. But again, this is an improvement. And overall, like I said, the conditioning on her in this particular show was a lot better from the front than what we've seen in previous shows. Looking at her from the back. So again, she's got those long hamstring drops. That's so hard to beat genetically, right? So hard to beat genetically. And while she's got the tie-ins pretty tight here, she's still got just a touch of softness here. She's not fully etched in, okay? So her conditioning is not over the top yet. She's close. She's been too tight in the past few shows. She's been over the line. She definitely filled out here. I do think she can still add some more size, specifically on her legs. Again, I think her shoulders and her legs could fill out a little bit more. But overall, really pretty look. Hair look is beautiful. I might want to try cutting it just a touch, just so you can see a little bit more of this lower back. It's not sitting on the glutes, but it's very close. So I'd probably trim off maybe a half inch or an inch or so back there, just to give a little bit more view from the back. But this is a very good shot for her. Now she's qualified for the Olympia. And again, her conditioning is pretty much spot on. Now I wanted to talk about this in reference to, this was something that got posted up on a Reddit board earlier about Zoe. I'm going to go to her photos real quick. Because she discussed her feedback on her Instagram post. And Sandy said that her glutes were overpowering to her frame. I should have pulled up the actual Instagram post, but I didn't. But essentially what she was saying was that she doesn't think that her glutes are overpowering to her frame, but she does feel like she could stand to fill out more. And I agree with her. I think that both Sandy's feedback and Zoe are correct. I think they're both correct. So I wanted to explain what I meant by that. Sandy is saying that her glutes are overpowering to her frame, which in this shot, in comparison to everybody else on stage, would be correct. However, the reason why is because her conditioning was too tight. If Zoe had come in a couple of pounds softer, a little bit more fullness on her, that would have filled her legs out, that would have filled her hamstrings out a little bit, that would have balanced her a little bit better. So what Zoe's saying is, actually my glutes aren't overpowering, I just didn't come in full enough. So this is the difference. This is something I wanted to address because you need to understand judging feedback and how it applies to your physique. Somebody else might hear that from Sandy and think, okay, so I need to go bring my glutes down, right? My glutes are too big. Zoe and her coach realize that her glutes aren't too big. It's just that the rest of her body isn't filled out enough to make them look balanced. Had her rest of her body been filled out, her glutes wouldn't have looked like they were overpowering to her frame. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of clarify that a little bit. Type into the comments, does that make sense? Does what I just say make sense? So both parties can be right at the same time. Sandy doesn't know that she could fill out a little bit more. She doesn't know that. She just sees what she sees on Zoe on stage, right? Zoe knows that if she filled out a little bit more, that would have balanced her lower half a little bit better. Okay. Type into the comments if that makes sense. I just, again, wanted to just kind of address that real quick because I know there were a lot of people talking about that and asking about that. Bottom line is that both people can be right at the same time. That's the bottom line. All right, so 100%, good. Yeah, I know it takes a little bit. The chat messages are a little bit behind. That makes sense. Good. Perfect. But congratulations to Deanna. I've mentioned this in the last few wrap-ups. Is that when she nails her look, she's going to be very, very dangerous. So now she's got plenty of time to make improvements because she's not qualified for the Olympia for next year. So she can do whatever she wants with her physique for the next year, right? Okay, so let's move on to previewing this weekend's shows. We're going to talk about Legions first. So Legions is this weekend, and so is Daytona. Good. I'm glad it's making sense. Awesome. So Legions is a big show. A lot of the girls we just talked about are getting on stage again. So here's our Bikini Open. You'll see that Jordan is on here. Zinchi, absolutely, I think she was too tight in conditioning, which made it look that way. Yes, correct. Yep. Brittany, who else just competed? Lacey just competed. So there's a bunch of girls on this list that just competed this past weekend, and they're going straight into Legions. I pulled up Roxana. So Roxana has not been doing great this year. She just can't get her conditioning. So conditioning is just eluding her for whatever reason, and it's knocking her out of those top 5 spots. She is a previous Olympian, a couple times over, but I pulled her up. We'll see if she can pull the conditioning in for this show. If she can be in that top 5 for sure. So you want to be paying attention to that, okay? Next, we've got Wu Bai. So Wu was 9th here at Sasquatch. Really impressive physique. And she is a previous Olympian. That's why I pulled her up. But just some little things that she could fix here. To me, this just looks a little overpowering. Looks like she's bending over a little bit, a little overpowering her glutes. There's a few little tweaks she could make here with this pose to make it look a little bit better. Pull the hand back off her belly button. Not a fan of these big, huge, high shoes. I would get rid of those shoes. There's just a lot of little things here that if she fixes them, could make her very, very competitive. They're all presentation things. So if she can do that, she's definitely one to be paying attention to in this show as well. I wouldn't count her out. And then the other thing is her back pose. Her back pose is really off. She's got a phenomenal back pose, but she's just doing it wrong. She's got her legs really, really straight, which completely blunts everything right here. Just makes everything look really flat. I'm not sure what is up with her posing. If she could fix her posing and, like I said, just a few little presentation things like these huge heels and stuff like that, then this could be a completely different person showing up on stage this weekend, right? Yeah, it's her physique is exaggerated, correct. It's partly her proportions. I do think she's a little bit over the top with her glutes, but it's also partly how she's posing them. She could get rid of some of that exaggerated look if she posed it correctly. So if she takes good feedback and she comes in this coming weekend with that feedback applied, she could be dangerous. So don't count her out yet. Let's see what she does coming into this show, because she does have a beautiful look. She just went over the top with everything, right? More's not better sometimes. So that's our main list here, guys. Is there anybody that I missed on here? We've got all the girls that we talked about already this weekend. I think it's going to come down to, we're going to get Jordan up there again, Brittany up in there again, Lacey up in there again. And that's my top 3. That's my top 3 here. And then just a matter of who comes in at their best, right? They were all within a couple of points of each other. Like nobody was a runaway at this past show at Sasquatch. So, you know, a few little tweaks here and there, and any one of them could take this show. Any one of them could take this show. Okay, so if I didn't miss anyone. Oh, and we just talked about her, right? I hate when I can't pronounce names. So sorry if I pronounce names wrong. So she was in Sasquatch, right? So make sure it's the same girl. Yeah. So coming into it, she'd also be one to be looking at as well. I thought I mentioned her, but I might not have. So, you know, like I said, I don't think anybody was really dominant in this particular show at Sasquatch. So, you know, we could see any one of those 4 girls really kind of, if they take their feedback and bump it up, they could take home the title here for sure. For sure. So, you know, like I said, we have Daytona this weekend as well, which, yes, I am competing in it this weekend. And typically I don't review shows or preview shows when I'm in them. But again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, I am moving over to Masters more than anything else. So while I am still competing in the Open, there is some powerhouse girls in the Open that I wanted to go ahead and highlight so that you guys are paying attention to them when they get on stage. Xinyi. Okay, got it. Xinyi. Hopefully I'll remember that. We'll see. So the Bikini Open list, while it is smaller than what we just saw for Legions, it is deep. It is deep. We've got Yulia, who just qualified. Alessia, who this is the first Olympia she won't be qualified for. Same thing with Ellie. Ellie, this is the first Olympia she won't be qualified for. We've got Nade, who won this last year. Ekaterina, I believe she was the one that just placed second next to Ari. Is that right? I think I forgot to pull her up. Let me see. That's the same girl. Yeah, it is. So she's the one we just talked about a couple weeks ago, who placed second to Ari. And then we've got Allie coming back too, who's been off stage for a long time, going into the Olympia, doing this as a warm up. So, you know, we brought up Yulia. Clearly, she just won a show. She would want to be one of our front runners. Alessia, I'm going to put her probably on the outside looking in this first call out. She still tends to get into the first call out, but towards the bottom, I'm thinking probably, you know, 4th or 5th at the best. This lineup is going to be hard. Ellie missed her Olympic qualification for the first time in, I don't know, 7 years or something. I mean, look at her previous history here. She's been around for a while, you guys. So I'm sure she's coming back for vengeance here. So I definitely wouldn't count her out at all. We have Nade coming out, who has been doing very well this season. This is her 3rd show this season. Top 5s each time she's out there, and she did win Daytona last year. So she's absolutely one to be watching here. And then we have Allie, who again, Allie has not been on stage since March. So she has had plenty of time this off season to get better and to come back better. So she's absolutely one to be paying attention to here. This is going to be a race here in this top 4 or 5. So we've got Yulia, Alessia, Ellie, Nade, and Allie are all previous Olympians, right? Gina's a Masters competitor, so not in the Open. She wouldn't be one to watch. But, you know, like I said, these 5 girls have all been to the Olympia or are going to the Olympia. So, and that's not counting Nade. Oh, no, I did count her. Oh, that's not counting Ekaterina. I didn't put Ekaterina up there because she hasn't actually been to the Olympia. But she did place second to Ari, so I just pulled her up. So this top 5 is sick. This top 5 is going to be sick. And then, you know, clearly anybody else that's on this lineup could get into that top 5. It could be anybody's day, right? It could be anybody's day. So yeah, who do you got for this show? Who do you guys got for the show? Who do you think is going to take the win here? Is Nade going to repeat? Is Nade going to keep her title? Yes, I understand that Gina Sardina, but she's a Masters competitor. So I understand she's in the Open, but she's a Masters competitor. So when I highlight people, it's people that have placed top 5 in the Open. I don't think I missed anybody. I did. Did I miss anyone? I don't know who Yuri is. Who you guys got for this show? Thinking Allie for the win. Yeah, so Yuri's a Masters. Yeah, it's not immediately. It's not immediately obvious. It's not at all. I don't know. It's a very like everybody's so different too. It's going to be very competitive. I honestly don't know because I mean everybody's great in their own right. You know what I mean? So there's not anyone that I'm looking at this and being like, oh, they're the front runner. You know, I could say that Nade is the front runner because she won this last year, but she didn't win a show this year. So I can't even say that. The one that has won the show most frequently or most recently has been Yulia, but she's been competing. This is her 10th show this year, so that's not a slam dunk for her. Allie, again, Allie could come in and take this whole thing, but she hasn't competed since March, so we don't know. And Ellie, I mean, again, Ellie, you never want to count her out. People always underestimate her. But I have a feeling she's coming back for vengeance because she just lost 2 shows, right? So really, this is wide open. This is wide open. I don't have a favorite for this. I don't have a favorite. Yeah, I don't know. Yulia's a machine. Agreed. I don't know how she's done. This is her 10th show this season. I don't know how. I don't know how. I'm like, for me, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till my shows are over so I can eat. Like, I need my not diet face back. But yes, I will be competing this weekend as well. Clearly, my name is right there on the list. Y'all are looking at it. So, but I'm going up into Masters myself. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun show though. I'm excited to get on this stage. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, as long as the hurricane doesn't thwart our plans. I'm not really concerned with the hurricane in Daytona. It's supposed to miss Daytona. Where I'm concerned is the travel down. Because I'm flying into Orlando actually. And I'm flying into Orlando on Thursday morning. And I think the worst of the hurricane is supposed to hit Thursday afternoon to Thursday evening. It's hitting the Gulf Coast, not the East Coast. So there's that. So I'm just hoping and praying that I can get in. If I can get into Florida, I'm good. As long as my flight gets in, I'm good. I'll get my groceries and I'll hole up inside the Hard Rock and be good to go. And just stay inside until the coast is clear, right? So with that, it's going to be a fun weekend, you guys. I am going to vlog everything because I'm definitely doing this show, and I'm also doing the Southern Muscle Showdown next week. Which next week I have one of my own prep clients posing, hair, makeup, all that stuff. Well, I'm not doing her hair and makeup at the show because I'm competing too, but suits, all that stuff. Jennifer, she is also competing in that show, pro, and I'm prepping her for it. So it's going to be a whole fun time, and I am going to vlog the whole thing. So then that way you guys can kind of see it from a competitor and coaching perspective. This is going to be new for me, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be fun. That's next week, not this week. This week is just me. This week is just me. And then at the same time that I've got the 2 of us in Georgia, I've got another NPC competitor getting on stage up in Connecticut. So it's going to be a weekend. It's going to be a weekend, and I'm going to take you guys and show you guys how it all goes, vlogging as well. So that'll be fun. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. So if there's anything that you want to see, let me know. Comment on this. Let me know what you want me to record and all of that as well. And then the following week is Olympia. So yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride for the next few weeks. Wild ride. So with that said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live and you know when we've got uploads going up. Jordan and I are doing a Behind the Bikini tomorrow morning. So hopefully I'll get that out to you in the afternoon. And then I fly out Thursday morning, God willing, as long as the hurricane doesn't thwart my plans. So wish all the girls luck and safe travels through the storms and all of that. And we'll see you back here next week. I'll do a wrap up next week. We gotta preview the Olympia too. So next week maybe we'll preview the Olympia. I think we have to kind of. Oh, wow, God, are we already there? We're already at the Olympia, you guys. How? Oh my Lord. Oh, where did the time go? Well, on that note, I need to go eat my last meal and get my final steps in. So I'm gonna go do that. So you guys have a great night. And we'll see you. Yes, there is a live stream for Daytona. Yes, so go check out the Daytona. I think if you just Google Daytona IFBB Pro something or whatever, you'll find it. But there is a live stream. Yes, there is a live stream for Daytona. Actually, if I go up, I can probably tell you what the website is. npcdbc.com is the website for the Daytona Pro-Am. So they do have a live stream. Yes. All right, guys. With that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back.